In the far west Pacific, the sun is just breaking over the China Sea. Another day is beginning in Southeast Asia as the warm, humid night slowly turns into a hot, humid day. If it were a different time and a different day, this quiet early morning countryside would be a thing of beauty. But it is today, another day of war in Vietnam.
And to think I could have had the swing shift this week. So what's better, sleeping during a stinking hot night and working during a stinking hot day, or vice versa? Answer, a cold shower.
At the air bases, the long night's work is all but finished. Tired men look to others to take up their labors. War, like any other human effort, is carried out on a day-to-day basis. In Vietnam, the days are long, and the effort is great. Throughout the Republic of South Vietnam, at odd-sounding places like Da Nang, Quy Nhon, Pleiku, Nha Trang, Bien Hoa, and Tan Son Nhut, another day of war, another day of work begins. In the early light on the line, ordnance men and maintenance men prepare aircraft for their first missions of the day.
I've never in my life worked as hard as I have since I came over here. Everybody works at least 12 hours a day. There's a lot to do on airplanes that are used as much as ours are. They have to be in top condition when they go out, or they may never come back. So we take a lot of pains to keep them in good shape. A lot of pains. They say genius is an infinite capacity for taking pains. I guess that makes geniuses out of us guys on the flight line.
Others in remote areas are also preparing for the day's work ahead. Forward air controllers inspect the little planes they call bird dogs before taking off to seek out the evasive Viet Cong. Vietnamese airborne troops double-check their equipment as combat support units ready to transport aircraft that will drop them into Viet Cong territory. Every man is not a hero, and every man does not fly. In war, there is a time to destroy and a time to build, all in the turn of a day. Building can be seen every day, everywhere in South Vietnam. Bases grow rapidly under difficult tropical conditions, and the eye of a crafty foe.
Some of the buildings we put up aren't going to give Conrad Hilton any competition. That's for sure. But they serve their purpose. We put up a lot of them, and we put them up fast. Some of them are made out of plastic. We blow them up like giant balloons. You like being part of this whole thing because you know you're doing something worthwhile. I don't only mean for the troops that are going to use these facilities, although that's certainly important. But there's something else. You get the feeling you're helping build something more permanent. Something that'll be here a long time after we're gone and this mess is settled.
Modern air bases number few, but tiny airstrips flourish and provide landing areas for delivery of supplies to remote areas. Cargo airlifts are the vital link between supply centers and men fighting in the wilderness.
You call, we haul is our motto. And we're sure glad to be able to deliver the goods to the guys out here in the boondocks. Not too long ago, those little men in the black pajamas were running up and down the hinterlands, killing and maiming and stealing, with hardly anyone around to stop them. Now there aren't quite as many of them, and they aren't quite as cocky. Our guys and the tough Vietnamese forces we're supporting are seeing to that. Fighting out in the sticks like they do means we have to bring them everything they need. Anywhere they are. Any way we can.
War is rarely fought only in the field. In Vietnam, perhaps more so than ever before, it is also fought in the minds of men. The weapons are words and ideas.
You hear a lot about the power that ideas have, good ones or bad ones. It doesn't matter which. You can see the Cong idea at work in the atrocities they commit and the fierce way they fight. I suppose they believe, just like we do, in what they think they're fighting for. They just don't happen to know what they're really fighting for, or against. So we try to let them know with our leaflets and broadcasts. Besides philosophy, they have lots of concrete reasons for coming over to our side, like food, medical care, reunion with their families, and a good price for their weapons. While we're giving them the word, we also provide them with safe conduct passes that will let them return and establish their allegiance to the government of Vietnam. Last I heard, some 30,000 had come over. These people bring a lot of valuable information with them. After a little retraining, most of them become useful citizens again.
Even in war, there is a time to comfort and care for the innocent and the stricken. Air Force doctors in remote areas devote considerable portions of their skimpy spare time to healing the sick and wounded who are not in uniform.
We see a lot of the same type of problems over here that we'd see anyplace else. There's a lot of pneumonia, malaria, worms, running ears, and tuberculosis. These long-suffering people are extremely grateful for anything we do for them. We often treat entire families with a variety of problems. A large number suffer from anemia and the effects of malnutrition. Iron tablets and vitamin pills usually put them back into pretty good shape again. Some of the conditions we run across, most of us wouldn't see in a lifetime of practice in the States. Many of these people have had serious diseases like leprosy for years and have never received any medical attention whatsoever.
The ravages of disease fought in Vietnamese villages. The ravages of tyranny fought from the skies over Vietnam. An Air Force combat control team drops into a Viet Cong infiltrated area to set the stage for a Vietnamese airborne division that will follow. The drop zone is marked as a target for the Vietnamese paratroopers. The control team maintains radio contact with the aircraft until it is in position for the drop. On the ground, the airborne troops await the paradrop of bulk supplies as they prepare to enter the enemy-dominated marsh country to hunt the hunter. Meanwhile, fighter aircraft are poised to swoop down and rake Viet Cong troop concentrations, munitions dumps, and supply areas. The targets are hidden behind a mantle of dense vegetation. The forward air controller makes his search for the seemingly invisible enemy. Spotting his quarry, he marks the area for fighter aircraft to follow through. As the cutting edge of air power slashes into the thickets of Viet Cong strength, farther north, vapor trails mark the paths of bombers that continue the daily bombardment of enemy installations, bridges, and underground tunnel complexes. In war, there are always losses. Aircraft are crippled or destroyed. Sometimes airmen must abandon their damaged aircraft and descend into hostile country. Often within minutes, air rescue helicopters are at the scene searching the area.
Once the pilot fires his smoke flare, we've got to move in fast, because the VC know where he is, just like we do. We go in so low to drop the cable that a well-aimed pistol shot could probably down the helicopter. But there's a pilot down there, and probably hundreds of VC closing in on him. So the order of the day is don't drag it. Most of these pilots we fish out of the woods are really something. The first thing they do, of course, is tell us how much they appreciate our being there. And in the next breath, they're usually talking about getting back to flying again.
In war, there are many harsh reminders that freedom is not without its price. Every day, misfortune mingles unannounced among our fighting men. Hearts are often heavy as silent warriors who have given their final day are borne back to their native land. Each day in Vietnam, young Americans put forth a determined effort to stem the unpredictable tide of tyranny. The greater the effort of each day, the greater the total effort, which leads to final victory or defeat. As this day begins to ebb into twilight, night warriors take up their tasks once again. For them, there will be no sleep during the passage of time that brings tomorrow and another day of war in Vietnam.